There was problematic times of the season when Benzema was out and they struggled to get a replacement. So that was a big bonus for them. But no, you'll never take these celebrations away.
It's the third La Liga title for Gareth Bale. He was not there to celebrate on Saturday at the Bernabeu. As you can see his tweet there, he had a bad back spasm. I guess, Ian, it's kind of fitting because he didn't really play much of a role this season.
No, I think a search party, haven't they, for Gareth Bale and Eden Hazard, who are nowhere to be seen. But it's a sad story for me, really, Gareth Bale, because he has so much brilliant talent, but he seems like a player who's kind of only half-hearted in his interest in being around the game anymore, unless it's for Wales. Real Madrid have fallen out of love with him. He seems to have fallen out of love with Real Madrid, and that's where we are.
He still clearly has it. I mean, with Wales, he still has it.
Well, I don't know. I mean, international football's different. It's a lot more of a chess match at times, and yeah, he's kind of the talisman at Wales, and he rises to the occasion of all these other players that are, some of them playing not even the top flight, and he does do it, and he has done a magnificent job for Wales. But he's been on. When the producer sent me that graphic, I think, oh, get Gareth Bale. My God, it didn't even come into my head, and I thought, well, you know, he's been on the missing list for a couple of years. And then Ian mentioned Eden Hazard, and I thought, bloody hell. I remember sitting in the studio in the first half of the season, and whenever Real Madrid would play, he'd probably be on the bench, but we'd talk about him. And it got to a point in the season, even if we're covering Real Madrid, it was like, what's the point? Mm-hmm. What's the point? And both of them have just become, and one of them, I mean, in all fairness to Gareth Bale, you know, Bale's been a huge success at Real Madrid up until the last couple of years.
Trophy haul, goals.
Performances,
yeah.
trophy. No, he got a lot of stick from the fans at times. Some terrific goals, won everything, you know, was a fixture in the team for long periods. So he can look back and say, yeah, all right, I've thrown the towel in a little bit or whatever now. What about Hazard? He's been part of nothing. He's really contributed very, very little. At least Bale can look back and some stunning performances and goals and huge occasions. Hazard, holy smokes. I mean, you talk about a disappointment.
Shaka, it may be complicated, but what's Bale's legacy at Real Madrid?
I don't think it's one that anybody remembers, in all honesty. And listen, I recognize the role he's played for Real Madrid. I recognize the silverware that he's won. But these last few years have just damaged his legacy beyond any kind of repair or recognition, in all honesty. And listen, I understand, I find it right that he wasn't there to celebrate, and as much as he's had injury issues, I think it became too much of a distraction to that dressing room at times when you want players to stand up and be counted when the chips are down and things aren't going your way. Gareth Bale had been missing. So it's only fitting that he wasn't there to celebrate when things were good. And I don't think the fans remember him that fondly long term. And again, his trophy cabinet is as good as it gets. But I don't think the fans will pay that any mind at all. I don't think that comes into their consideration.
Just quickly before we go on, I know he wasn't there to celebrate at the
Bernabeu on Saturday. Yeah, it wasn't there.
Sorry, we'll go back to that in a minute. He wasn't there to celebrate at the Bernabeu. Mm-hmm. Because of a back spasm. I don't understand that.
What? If he's injured, he can't be at the stadium?
When I was fortunate enough to be part of a team that won the title at Celtic for the first time in 10 years, they were all there. And I know Real Madrid have won a lot, but they were all there. The guys that played at Celtic Park that day, the guys that were injured, the people that were outed from the squad, the people that Wim Jansen hardly picked, played a handful of times, not even stripped, in the suits and shirts and ties. They were all there. There's no excuse. I get it. He's injured. He can't. But there's no excuse to not be there. And maybe he was. Maybe we've got it wrong. But there's no excuse not to be there to celebrate at your home stadium with all your teammates, unless you're bedridden, right? There's no excuse, so I'm sorry. I picked the first bit of it up wrong. Later on, when they're celebrating at the Bernabeu and all that, when Ancelotti's singing and when having it, they should all be there. That is just plain wrong for me.
Second leg between Real Madrid and
graphic.
Manchester City. It's coming, it's coming. No, I'm glad you got that in. Of course, coming Wednesday.
I don't get that. You're supposed to be doing sitting at home.
Yeah, where else would you rather be, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Celebrating with your team.
Anyway, we're moving on. We're not dropping this twice.
No, City leading 4-3 on aggregate as we head to the second leg, and pretty significant favorites there. Don't tell the Spanish papers that, though. Here's what AS had to say. Sí se puede. Yes, we can. Expecting a sold-out Bernabeu
1-5 against.
at the match
I'm not good
tomorrow.
with odds. You good with odds?
I'm not great with odds, but I think City obviously up.
I said
pretty
a
big
few
favorites
days ago
there.
on the show, when we had odds that might have changed, I don't know, but they were heavily favouring Man City. I mean, heavily. And I personally don't see it that way. Yeah, I think City are a better side, but I think it's more of a 60-40 call at best, because this...
If you do the math on those odds, about 80-20. So you're saying you're giving Real Madrid a way better shot than the odds makers.
Yes, they're a way better team than that. I mean,
Down a goal.
they rested players at the weekend. They made a lot of changes. Yes, they're down a goal. They were lucky against Chelsea in the second leg, and they can't afford to perform that way again. But we saw what they did to PSG, and we know the type of performance they can put in any given evening. We saw it at Stamford Bridge. We've seen the magic from Vinicius at the Etihad. We've seen the magic from Benzema at the Etihad. My God, when Real Madrid couldn't even get a kick, one ball in the box, bang, goal. City have been a team who, at this stage of these huge competitions, have predominantly made bad judgment errors at the back. That's how close I think this game is a Manchester City aberration away from going out. And we've seen it before with Pep's teams in the quarterfinals, in the semi-finals, and in the final. And you make basic errors against this Real Madrid side with people like Modric and Kroos that can just cut you open, and Benzema, who's the best striker on the planet at the moment. This is a dangerous game. This is a dangerous game for Man City, and I'm intrigued to see how they're going to play it.
Thanks so much for watching ESPN on YouTube. And for more sports highlights and analysis, be sure to download the ESPN app. And for premium content and live streaming, subscribe to ESPN Plus.